Can Good morning to all of my fortune cookie people. We are here, Gen X, for Mixtape Tarot. So I have my MTV mug with my Calorie Bomb coffee in there. It's a toffee coffee. It's got all kinds of delicious stuff like salted caramel in there. It's really good. So we are doing Mixed Tape Tarot Monday. I am going to be going through all of the questions that are in my comments, or at least as many as I can. So thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm still tinkering with my camera angles here. I'm not loving what this camera angle is doing for me. Let me know what you think. I know we were talking about the intro and if people like it or they don't like it. I kind of got a real mixed review, so I don't know. It really was like 50-50, so I'm not sure if we're going to keep that on board or what. But let's pull up the card view. We're going to start talking about stuff. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. I got a lot of new subscribers over the weekend, so I'm glad to have you guys here. I hope you have fun with this. If it's your first time seeing Mixtape Monday, what we do is we just answer any questions that you guys have. Put them in the comments down below. I'm going to get to as many of them as I can. So first question is we bring up our card view. And I'm just going to do some cool stuff with this. There we go. We are on card view only. And we're bringing the coffee over. All this real estate on my new desk. So first question I have, will Leticia James and Alvin Bragg go down too? This was in response to my reading on the New York mayor. So we want to see what's going on. We're going to use the This May Hurt Tarot today. I will link this in the description of the video if you are so inclined to purchase it. It's not a deck that I use often, but it is nicely brightly colored. I really got keen on that Pulp Tarot last week. So let's see. We're going to start with Leticia James. Is Leticia James going to go down with the mayor of New York? Eight of Swords, released from the situation. Lover, she's partnering up with someone. Hermit, she's not standing alone on this. She's got powerful folks behind her. They are telling her just to kind of sit tight. She's actually going to be, in my psychic opinion, I think she's going to be preserved for a future use. So I think the powers that be will keep her safe and sound and kind of deflect any of the stuff that's going on. How is she going to conduct herself in this? It seems like she's just going to shut her mouth. We're going to look up here. We have the Sun card. They're going to promote some good stuff about her. And she's going to have a bunch of people backing her up. So with that Five of Swords, we do have people coming to the fore, helping her out, supporting her. We've got big people behind her really trying to keep her safe and sound, believe it or not. Down there, Temperance, she is trying to just sit tight. 10 of Wands, there are some individuals who are not real keen on her being preserved. They're kind of sick of the nonsense. 7 of Cups, I think it's going to get very hairy and confusing. Ultimately, I do think she is going to be put on ice for a little while. I don't mean iced, but put on ice for a little while. And they're going to let her kind of drift into the distance, maybe talk about a couple of good things here and there that she's done in order to preserve the whole of her career. So that's the first thing we've got. Now let's talk about Alvin Bragg, not Alan, Alvin. Let's talk about Alvin Bragg. Cards all over, guys. Cards all over. How is Alvin Bragg going to fare? Immediately, I'm getting that this is not, they're going to let him go. He's tied to an anchor right now. Tied to an anchor. They're letting him go down with the ship. I'm not going down with the ship. That was a band called Scatterbrain back in the 80s, late 80s. Great band, really musically talented. It was, I think, considered a supergroup. So, yeah, when at one time he was considered a important, a VIP person, not so much anymore. Not so much anymore. They're going to refute everything that he's done and said. He's going to be cast out. This Five of Pentacles is sometimes cast out, sometimes going forth without any support, running on faith. Even if he runs on faith, I don't think that that's going to fare very well for him, because it doesn't seem that too many people have his best interest in mind. So the Two of Wands up there, I think his power sources are abandoning him. I think they are really just saying, we're gonna divert from this situation. We're gonna divert from this individual. We're not going to put our money on this dude. So the Two of Wands there, any of the people that he has had practical support from, they're going to be gone too. They're just not going to be helping him out. So I think he is ultimately going to be in a poor spot. Let's see where it winds up. Where does he wind up? Page of Pentacles, broke. Eight of Wands, stuck. Nine of Cups. I think he's at the point where he is a bit exhausted from the whole process, and he doesn't have a problem with being cast out or not being part of the political machinery of the world. I think this turn of events, the recent turn of events, and the way that the election is going are things that he does not want to participate in any longer. I think he's seeing the battle for what it is. If we could call this attrition, I would call it attrition, but I don't think that he's doing it of his own will. I think there are elements that are pushing him in that direction, lack of support, that kind of stuff. So poor Alvin Bragg, not much to brag about there. I think they have literally pulled the rug out from under him and just kind of let him do his own thing for the moment. So we've got question from Margie. Margie, my new Facebook friend. How are you over there? So as an 80s couple of gals here, your question was you're focusing on the readings that I've done about Harry moving back to England and then going to Africa by himself. I just want to clarify. So at one point, I did think that he was going to go back to England. You have to remember, when we're doing psychic readings in tarot, if the target, the subject of our reading changes their mind or does something differently, the readings are going to change. So, that's anytime a reader says this is what's going to happen, I go, okay, that you got to take it with a grain of salt, because what if that subject watched your reading and said, I'm going to do the exact opposite? I try and offer advice to the individuals and the subjects that I read on, even in these pop culture readings, because I think it's really important to understand that is a component of being a psychic, is that if you tell your client or your subject, you're going to meet the love of your life on the corner of Fifth and E. That was where I lived in college. I always refer to Fifth and E. It was a great apartment. But if you tell them they're going to meet their love of their life there and they go down Fourth Ave, they're not going to meet the love of their life. So they may meet them later on, but they may miss it altogether. So 6 days ago, Margie, my good friend, was wondering if the current trip over to, I guess, England, is part of him working out a deal now that him and Megan have separated their working life. And separation indeed. I'm going to do a bunch of readings on them this week. Megan wore that ridiculous red dress that was altered. Bad idea. She wanted to show off that she was skinny enough to fit in it now. Still looked awful. And Harry, there is a Prince of Hearts kind of reboot. The Vintage Read was talking about it, and there's an article she was referencing that there's a journalist who thinks Diana, Princess of Wales, would have giggled at Harry kind of thwarting the powers that be and the men in gray suits, and also that he wants to be a Prince of Hearts. And that was a branding that they had used 22 years ago. So let's do a dip into that right now, and I'll do a much larger reading on it, so you can look for that. I'm doing all production today, guys. So let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. Is Harry, has he been in discussions with the restoration of his royal life, sans Meghan? Has he been in discussions about it? Tower crashing moment. So we're going to hold on to that. Let's not get excited, because this could go one of two ways. This could be, hey, knock, 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 I want to come back in. Is the castle open? Is the room for one more? But we may get a weird answer. What's crossing him? The Emperor. What else? The Ace of Cups. It looks like they are limiting this restoration of his former life. It looks like there's a limit there. And since I did 2 cross, I'm going to do this here. This is just like a little funky Celtic cross that I'm doing. I got cards flying out all over the place. So what is his shadow self here, guys? Let's look at the shadow self. Shadow self. He wants to get back to work. What he's been doing is not really considered work. He thinks it's stupid. He's going through the motions. He's getting poor reception, not at the events. At the events, people are actually being fairly respectful to him and fairly kind to him, possibly because they recognize that he's in a terrifically complicated marriage. It does not seem that they are on the same page. It doesn't seem like he's living an authentic life. I hate to say authentic, but so we have that. He wants to get back to work. What is behind him that he needs to grab and move into the future? He needs to stop trying to be the intellectual. He's not an intellectual. He's not a guy who can make decisions or craft new policy. He's not that guy. He's made mistakes on his lines. I still, for the life of me, I think he referred to our Second Amendment here in the United States as bonkers. I don't think he was referring to the First Amendment. I don't even know if he knew what the First Amendment was. I do think that he is fed lines and then can't execute them. Another line that he was fed, generational pain, he called it genetic pain. They're both G words. They both start with GE. So why not? Or GEN. They both start with GEN. He was close. He was close. So he needs to stop trying to be the intellectual. What should he be? Let's look there. Should be the Hermit, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Hanged Man in reverse, 9 of Pentacles in reverse. So what does this tell us? This is a wild spread that I'm doing, guys. So he needs to go back and really do some self-examination, not with these gurus and, spiritualists. Like, I'm a spiritualist, but I'm not working with Harry. So he should go back and work with legitimate people. Like, cut out all the fat. Stop the tapping, stop the meditating, stop all of that. Go to a reasonable psychoanalyst, sit down, soup to nuts, and go, this is where I'm at in my life. I got to restart. What do I do to restart? So part of that is to become vulnerable and really accept and understand the mistakes that he made, the foolishness that he's done, and where that has led him so far in this life. That's really what he needs to do. This needs to be raw, completely naked, not Vegas naked, but completely naked Harry. He needs to really look at himself without the safety net of the royal family covering up his plot lines and machinations. And he needs to really come to terms with how he has deflected responsibility for all of his life. This really is going to be a life-changing moment. If he does that, how will he come through it? again, I'm doing a weird read. He's going to come through it with a renewed depression and poor self-esteem, because he's going to realize that he really is a ginger balloon. There's nothing inside. His best bet was to enjoy the fruits of advantage, enjoy the position of being the second in line at one point. Now, what is he, sixth? I don't even know. Just being part of the machinery. You are a cog, not the rock star. You will not be the rock star. You could have been the super fun guy, but then you might have wound up like your uncle. But now he needs to just give up being the rock star. He's not a rock star. He's not fun. He's not cute. He's 40 years old and his hair is falling out and he looks like he's a mess. So where is his head at this point? 9 of Swords. Boys and girls, say it with me. What is that? Anxiety, sleeplessness, really being bogged down with all of the stuff that's going on. We have bad cards here, guys. So we've got the Ace of Cups in reverse, no renewal. The Emperor in reverse, no help from the leadership, no ability, no agency to move forward. We've got that Tower card and the Anxiety card. These cards make me very nervous when they are together, because sometimes people get very desperate when these cards are together. Mark that down. So where do we go in the future from this? We get the Four of Cups. He is going to sit and cry in his crybaby soup. He is going to try and figure out another way to get in. So let's give him some advice. All right. We're going to give him some advice. What is the best way to get in? We're going to pull all these cards out, clean up our real estate. That's where he winds up in the immediate future. What does he need to do to get out of this pickle? What does he need to do? We're talking about Prince Harry here. Slow down, you crazy child. Oh, slow down and look at the bright side of things. Oh, goodness. Well, that's... Oh. There's our devil card, smoking. This is a problem. All right. So what I'm saying is, what does he need to do? And we're getting what he's going to do. Unfortunately, it looks like he is going to cry in his crybaby soup. And instead of being productive with this and stopping focusing on being a rock star, I had to cover up that naked lady in the star card. Sorry about that. So instead of focusing on the future and being this fabulous celebrity, he needs to be grateful for what he has and find the places in his life where it worked, where he was collaborating with people. He needs to be with a team, not on his own. He's not cool enough to be on his own. However, I think what he does is this crybaby soup turns into a depression, a grinding, slow depression, which then we add substances in. What is the equal sign to that? What do we get? More lack of agency. So part of why we keep getting this Emperor in reverse is that he can't make up his mind. He's got one foot in, one foot out. He doesn't know what he wants to do. He's not making any decisions. He is not in a problem solving mindset. This is really, really difficult because he doesn't want to appeal to go home. He doesn't want to ask for forgiveness. He doesn't want to leave the situation that he's in, and he doesn't want to suggest any things that are going to make things better for himself. So he's, if anyone was ever swirling the drain, we're swirling the drain here. He's got people driving him. There is a very Britney Spears gimme more performance kind of vibe about this. He is being pushed to do things, not just by this lady, but by someone else who's in charge of things. Let me grab a little bit of this delicious coffee. Oh, today's Mixtape Monday is brought to you by Delicious Coffee. So I think, and again, we're going to do a larger reading on him, but I think that there's a very Britney Spears shoving out into the world kind of vibe here. So um, this definitely is, he is a mess right now. Poor Harry. I don't, and I'm saying poor Harry. I know he's made a lot of mistakes, but I do think that he hasn't had someone telling him the truth, which is pretty sad. So, this was an interesting question, and I'm going to switch up decks for it. This is Tarot of the Unknown. It's a deck I got off Etsy, and I can't find it. So, I don't know if it's still available. I did get a signed copy of these cards. The artist signed, paid extra. But instead of the Fool, they have the Greg. So I thought it was very appropriate for our household. But it's got this cute little Halloweeny back. So, question is from Julianne Lewis, who is a super fan. I see her all the time in the chats here and on other channels like Trevor Colt. And I see her all over the place. I run into Julianne all the time, and I love to see her. So, Julianne wants to know, how reliable is NT Lawyer, the author of The Blind Items? Is he a credible source? Now, I really like NT Lawyer. I love Blind Items. I think it's great. I used to play a game with myself and look at the blind items and try and figure out who it was before he posted who it was. But let's see if he is a reliable source. Oh. Three of hatchets, which is our three of swords. So, all right. I don't want to say that NT Lawyer is just making things up, just like kind of taking information and running with it. But I do think that with this Seven of Wands in reverse, that he is has a leaning. It has a particular lean. So this was something I actually discussed this with a new in-person client here in New Jersey. And I said I can get you references, or you can go look at my YouTube channel. I said, just with the understanding that I try and be as fair as possible. But if you watch long enough, you're going to see which side I lean to politically. And she had a good laugh about it. But I do think that he's got a particular lean to his belief structure, and that is really about the processes that are in place in Hollywood. And I can't blame him. I lived in Los Angeles at one point. I do know that it's a weird town. I never really assimilated there. I just couldn't quite catch the wave, if you will. So I think he has a good heart with that Queen of Cups there. Do think he has a good heart, and I think that there's a particular lean there. So does that mean that we don't get certain information, that some people are immune to it? Yes. Yes. There are some individuals with this Knight of Axes, the 10 of Pentacles or 10 of Coins, and the Ace of Wands. There are some individuals that he is not going to reveal information about. And I think that's just fine, because there are some people that I know some crazy stories about that are well known, and I don't relay those stories. So, Keanu Reeves is one of them. And he didn't do anything sketchy, but there's some things that professionals said about him that worked with him that I will not repeat, because I think he's a decent dude. But so the Five of Cups in reverse, there is this possible, like, it's almost like a burn book. There are individuals that maybe he's had some kind of encounter with, or some kind of social crossing with, that a little bit of burn. So the thing is that he really is cultivating some PR for certain individuals. And does he do that with a good heart? Yes, he is trying to out the creeps. He's trying to do that, which I think is kind of neat. But he's also not telling us about all of the creeps. So, you know, some people are going to be untouchable with him for personal reasons. For personal reasons. What's in the future for him? We've got that Seven of Cups. I think we're going to start to see more and more stuff out of NT Lawyer. I think we're going to see, instead of, you know, it's going to be like royal blind items, that kind of thing. Like, we're, you know, I think we're going to see more and more stuff with him. We have down here, new beginnings. He's ramping up. It's in a phase where speed is coming. And also there are other entities that are coming to the fore with him that do want to work with him. I've seen him partner up with a lot of other YouTubers. So maybe that's what we're reading here. Hopes and fears, the anti-whispers. Anti-whispers. So that in reverse, the hope is that this work is effective in outing the creepy people. What do we get as our ultimate? We get the Wirt, who's our magician there. Very, very cute. This is a very Halloween-y deck. So with this being the immediate outcome and this being the ultimate outcome, we have a lot of different ways we can go. There's a lot more respect building with that magician. Now, the magician, I always tell my students this, the magician is fickle. He can go any way he wants, but he's going to do it to benefit himself the most. He is going to invest his tools and the elements that he has to have the best outcome for himself. He flexes his power. Sometimes he's a little bit showy with his power. You know, he's a little bit of a player, like some puckish energy there, if you will. So I do like the magician. I don't want to say that I don't like him, but I know that he is someone who can command a lot of interesting power. So NT Lawyer, I'm still gonna watch him. You know, I'm not talking smack here. That Three of Swords though is a bit wild. I didn't expect that to come up. So let me just scroll into the next section. And I hope you guys are having a great time. If you did not hit that button yet, hit the like button. So we are scrolling up. So you know what? Let's do this. Would Princess Diana, or Diana Princess of Wales, would Diana Princess of Wales been happy with Harry's battle against the men in gray suits? Would she have been happy about that? King of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, the Hierophant. No. So these are all very positive cards. However, they are screaming King of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, the Hierophant. Hierophant for me is always a seat of power. This is the royal family. This is the king. This is the queen. Harry should have conducted himself in regard to these elements in his world, not his own personal proclivities. So, is Harry the Prince of Hearts? Once upon a time, he was. That's Six of Cups. And the Woodsman. That is, oh, yeah, he moved backward. Tried to be the King of Cups and diverted sadly from it. At one time, 22 years ago, when this Prince of Cups was first introduced, Harry would have fit into that role very well, but he did not listen. He did not look, see, feel, sense what was going on. He decided Prince of Hearts was not good enough. He needed to be more. He needed to be the rock star, the pleasure prince, the fun guy. And he took the Prince of Hearts instead of reaching down, shaking hands with children, making friends with children, connecting with people in that childlike way, that playful, childlike way. He tried to put the more serious veneer that his mother had on, that royal cast, if you will, that beautiful sheen and shell of nobility. He tried to put that on, go to Hollywood, goof off. He tried too hard. He should have just stayed pleasant and toned it down a little, dial it back. Is this possibility gone? Is the Prince of Hearts ability gone? No, he can restart this. There's that Greg I was telling you about. Look at how cute. The Greg. My Greg does not look like that. And Raven doesn't look like that either, his little faithful dog. He needs to get away from the substances. That is a sure thing. I highly suspect that he's what's called California sober, which means you can have a drink, a glass of wine, that kind of thing. And you can also smoke, but you just don't do anything else like pills and whatnot. I suspect he is California sober. And I suspect that the smoking bit has, and edibles, of course, has been sold to him like, this is what keeps you normal. This is what keeps you normal. This will level you out. It's totally fine. But you cannot walk around all day long stoned. You can't do it. You don't think correctly after a while. I am not a teetotaler. I will say that. I am not opposed to people smoking. However, I am opposed to people smoking all day, every day, night, day. You wake up, you do a bong hit. I think that that's very foolish. I think that's a very poor way to conduct yourself. So I do think that if he gets away with his little dog and then practices some self-control, gets this under control, he can get back to work. And then what happens? What's our equation? And then he will be understood as a more thoughtful, considered person. Does he ever return to this goofball prince back here? No, he never gets back there because he never gets back there. He is unable to cast aside this seriousness in this, he's constantly offended by everything. Like, he just has gone the pale on that. So he's never going to get back to the Prince of Hearts, but he can resurrect into something else where people will take him a little bit more seriously. I'm still going to say it. Harry, if you're listening, write the book, How I Survived a Narcissist. It'll take you far. If Harry wrote How I Survived a Narcissist, how would that fare? How would that fare? He would still be seen as a complainer, but there would be a reasonable explanation for what happened. He would have to destroy her reputation, but we would know about her ambition and we would see her for the liar that she is. And he would be in the garage, so to speak. He would be under repair. I know I did 6 cards here, but he would be in repair. People would understand and they would give him the time to correct it. If he wrote that book, he would be able to illustrate how I was hoodwinked, how I got sucked into this, how this was a bad science experiment and the elements just didn't work together. He would be able to do that. And I still, I think that that's a good idea. I think it would be painful and horrible for him, but I still think that it's a good idea. So that being said, let's see what's next. All right, so we got a heavy one coming in from Drew, and I'm going to switch back to the This May Hurt Tarot. Drew, you have asked, can I do a reading to see if the current administration, FEMA, are all involved in turning their backs on the victims of Hurricane Helene? Are they going to be held accountable? So let's take a look at this. Sorry, just fixing my anti-fatigue mat. I'm on a little board that rocks back and forth, and it's pretty awesome. So before I answer that question, I think we need to do something very special. I think we need to have Alicia. Yes, ma'am. So Alicia's deck is right there. If you are unfamiliar with my friend Alicia, she is Alicia Wicker. She's another reader. She's in California, and she is pretty freaking awesome. So this is her true crime and conspiracy deck. I will put a link to her website so you can purchase it for yourself. I have the original deck and also the expansion pack. So let's get some. So what I want to know is this hurricane, and now we got Hurricane Milton coming in. Are these some interesting weather situations that we're seeing? Should we be worried about this? Is this the October surprise? Are we going to have bedlam and people unable to vote because of hurricanes and flooding and whatnot? I know Jen from Real Housewife Recaps, she's HRH Jen now. She is actually holding up with the Sidley twins because her place was pretty damaged. Her husband's back there working on it. I actually had a significant loss for Hurricane Sandy, being 2 blocks from the beach at the time with my ex. And it took him some time to fix that house up. And actually, our relationship broke up partially because of that. But my dog died, had a heart attack in the driveway after it. It was pretty horrific. So anybody that's going through anything like that, I think it's terrible. The Sidley twins are doing a fundraiser for the animals. They have animal rescues that are going down there, and there's a fundraiser that's going on right now. But let's talk about whether or not, and this is shuffled right there. You guys can see I'm not pulling any cards out just yet. Let's see, is this a weather event that we should be harping on? Are we harping on the weather, kids? Are we having weather events that are on purpose? Judgment. What crosses us? 8 of Cups, walking away. And I'm doing this weird Celtic cross, Queen of Swords. Yeah, guys. These things are happening for a reason. And let's see what Alicia's deck has to say. Let's see what Alicia's deck has to say. Again, this is the True Crime and Conspiracy deck and the expansion pack, and I have them mixed up. All mixed up. Don't know what to do. Name that song if you know that band. We got royalty. Bring that down. Because we're never gonna be royals. So I do want to stop, and we're talking about American politics and American things, and this royalty card comes up. It doesn't mean that the royal family is involved. For me, what this means is that this is our hierarchy. This is the elite that are involved. So you have to be careful when you do readings with decks like this. You know, if it comes up like, you know, yeah. So this looks like, now this isn't an FF, but that FF can be manipulation. There is a manipulation card in here, weather manipulation card. Let's see if we're going to get it. I'm going to put that right here because I think that these go together. I think this is going to be, we've never seen hurricanes like this ever before, which we haven't. Curious, isn't it? So any of you that have done research on magnetic pole shifts or anything like that, you understand that. And if you know anything about the Younger Dryas event, our planet takes on different climates at different times. We can't expect the United States to always have the weather that it does. The climate is going to change. So let's take one more from Alicia's deck. I think that's pretty much what our administration is doing now. So we'll put these guys over to the side. Boop, 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 boop. And this we're going to pick up. All right. So are these individuals the people that are responsible for the event? I'll do my NT lawyer voice. I love NT lawyer's voice. I think he's got a great voice. I hate my voice on recording. I know some of you are like, what? I like the Jersey accent. I hate the Jersey accent. I want to have a Jersey accent. I want to talk like this. Have a sweet, sweet accent. So are these individuals going to be held accountable for this? For the abandonment of American people in the middle of a disaster? 8 of Wands. We got some speed and communication going on there. And 3 of Cups. People are not going to be happy about it. Under the surface, yes. Wheel of Fortune. This is a trick that they can't get out of. 9 of Cups. So the illusion that they have set forth of this is just a climate change event, like it's just a hurricane, that's going to be outed. We're going to know that it's not. And I think Milton is going to give us a key to that. The Magician, we're going to see that the powers that be were powers that were flexed. I think here we also see that the powers that were flexed, there was a purpose behind this, a much greater purpose. 4 of Swords, hopes and fears. We're going to see some movement on this. Strength. It's going to take some time before we can do this. Whenever we get that strength card, strength is about patience and wearing mountains down, that kind of an energy. So we do, and we have to keep applying that pressure. So as long as the pressure has continued to be applied in this situation, I think we're going to see resolution and people being held responsible. They're not going to be happy about it. And it's going to be a little bit tricky to tie those knots together where we get everybody. I think some people are out of it. Do we find out that the weather manipulation is actually something that, is a reality? Do we ever find that out? Con man. It's like the digital evidence. Boop. Con man, whenever I get this one, I always think about the guy who was trying to sell the monorail to the Simpsons. And it was Phil Hartman did the voice, monorail, monorail. It was a great song. So health risk, that's what's going to come up next. There's going to be a lot of people saying false accusations here and there. And thief. So there is some discussion about what's under the ground there in the Asheville area that was fairly hard hit. So, very similar to an and grab. Does that make sense? So is this going to be land grab situation? This will be my last question for this week's Mixtape Monday Tarot. Is there something that they're getting under the ground? Chariot, not moving forward. Ace of Swords, Queen of Pentacles. Yes, there's a robbery happening. Yes, absolutely. Page of Wands. That is a situation that's going on there, guys. We're going to have to do a bigger reading on this during the week. Working in a coal mine. You guys are seeing these, right? I'm not calling them out. And one more. Insurance policy. So I think this is going to warrant a bigger reading. So let's take care of this a little bit later today. But for now, I want to thank all of you for spending this time with me, for supporting my channel, and for enjoying my content. I do hope that the rest of your day goes as well as the beginning part of your day. I'm sorry I didn't get this out earlier, but I'm going to be doing content all day long. So be well, stay well, and I will see you in the future.